Hello, sports fans of Tuk Tayuk Tuk. The King Icheboo Sports Network is on the air. It is September the 3rd, 1979, and we are going to have a full day of broadcasting for you today. I hope you enjoy it. First, we'll start with pennant race baseball. Although this isn't technically in the pennant race, it is a huge rivalry. The last game played of Labor Day. Did I mention it's Labor Day? Yes, it's Labor Day. And the last game of the day is from Yankee Stadium, the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees. High-powered offenses. The Red Sox are an S, which I believe is the highest ranking of any team in 1979. So it should be a lot of fireworks here today. Let's get the game going. Boston is an S. Yankees pitching is -2. So they go down to a Q. And then the Yankees start at P. And the Boston pitching's -1. So they go down to an O. And then we take in the home advantage. Nothing for the Yankees. They remain at O. And -1 to the Red Sox, so they go down to a P. So we only one column apart. P versus O in this battle. It's anybody's game, really. So let's get this one underway. I have to pick out the right one. Is it this one? Yes. O and P. So go to the O and P section. And P for the Red Sox. Let's bring up the dice. And here we go. We're rolling for the Red Sox. What is their roll today? 15. Not very good. Well, they still score 3 runs. Will that be enough? My money is on not enough. All right, now we're going to roll for the Yankees. The Yankees are on O. Once again, bring up the dice. So in order for the Red Sox to win or have a chance of winning, the roll has to be 32 or less. If it's higher than 32, the only hope is 36 and get on a big or bad game. BG can stand for big or bad. All right, here's a roll. They're hoping for 32 or less. It is 56. That's way over. The Yankees score 5 runs and win today's game by a score of 5-3. 5-3 Yankees. The winner is Ron Guidry. And the loser is Dennis Eckersley. And let's roll for the Yankee runs. 5 of them in total. We got our 1,000-sided die. The Yankee home run number is 204. We'll roll for run number 1. It's 54. It is a home run. Who hit the home run? 241. That is Jimmy Spencer. Spencer hit the home run. How many runs did he drive in with his home run? 908. It's a big one. It is a 3-run homer for Jim Spencer. So he gets 3 RBIs. That's the big blow of the day. Now we're rolling for the 4th Yankee run. It is a 666. That is not a home run. So who drove in the run? 5. It's Reggie. Reggie drove in the 4th run. And the final run, is it a home run? No. Who drove it in? 891. It is other. Anything over 500 on the Yankees is other. So there's all the run. That's all it takes. A minute at the most to determine the runs scored. Now we go and we have to bring the bad news back to Fenway that they've lost the Labor Day game with the Yankees. So we copy this. We go to Boston and we roll it in. Oh, we forgot to do something over here with the Yankees, though. We forgot to give them the win. They have a home win. And they've scored 5 runs, and they allowed 3. We go back to Boston now, and we do the same thing. Oh, it's away loss, and you scored 3 runs and allowed 5. And of course, I'll type these in later. Guidry and Eckersley. Now let's roll for the 3 Red Sox runs. already. Jimmy Rice has 34 homers and 104 RBIs. Fred Lynn has 37 homers, 109 RBIs. The two biggest bats of the Red Sox in 1979. Let's see who gets these ones. Their home run numbers very high, 231, almost 25% of the time. Actually, for the Red Sox, 38% of their runs came by the home run in 1979. Direct result of a home run. Here is their first roll. 159. It is a home run. Who hit the home run? 554. 554. That is Dwight Evans hit the first home run, the maximum 3-run homer. But how many RBIs did he drive in? 806. 806 is a 2-run homer. Anything from 495 to 856 is a 2-run homer. So Dewey Evans hits a 2-run homer in Yankee Stadium for 2 of the 3 Red Sox runs. And the final run is not a home run. 791, that is other. So that is baseball for today. Let's look at the up-to-date standings after Labor Day. The 3rd of September 1979, the Pittsburgh Pirates keep winning. Montreal and Chicago keep winning, but Pittsburgh's even winning right alongside of them, and they still have a 3.5 game lead over Montreal, 6.5 over Chicago. In the National League West, Cincinnati has a 1.5 game lead over Houston. In the American League East, Baltimore is running away with the AL East. 9.5 games over Milwaukee, and in the closest pennant race, we don't talk about Minnesota, but they're creeping up to a 1.5 games back of Kansas City. And in my experience, any King Icheboo replay, Minnesota, you never count them out. They are always tough for some reason. I don't know what it is. My King Icheboo's dice love the Minnesota Twins, and that's just a fact. So this is a very tight race here. So that is baseball. Once again, in case I didn't save it, we will save it now, and we'll close it off. And we'll close off the scoring chart of baseball so that we won't be in the way. Now we're going to move on to the CFL, the Labor Day Classic. Now this is the lesser, well, maybe not in Alberta and Northwest Territories, but in Saskatchewan and Manitoba, this is the big Labor Day Classic game. It is the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And looking at the standings, you wouldn't think this would be a big game because Winnipeg is 2-5 with 4 points, and Saskatchewan is 0-7. However, anytime the Saskatchewan Roughriders play any game, it is a national holiday in Saskatchewan. You don't know, if you haven't lived in Western Canada, you don't know what it's like to live here with these Saskatchewan Roughrider fans. They are the most passionate fans of any sport in the world. I'm going to go on the limb and say that. They are absolutely crazy. In retail, if you put anything with this logo, the Saskatchewan logo, this is the logo in 1979. It's the old classic Saskatchewan logo with the S and the wheat and all that. They have taken, there still might be wheat in there, I don't know. But they've taken, and this is the current logo. If you take anything and put this logo on it, it will sell. It will sell. It will fly off your shelves. If you have, in your business, you have a warehouse full of old vacuum cleaners that you can't get rid of, my advice to you is to put this logo on your old vacuum cleaners and ship them to Saskatchewan. They will sell instantly. You put a pile of dog crap and put it in a bag that has this logo on it, put it on the shelf. They will buy it. I am serious. They will buy anything with this logo on it. As in contrast, if you take anything and put this logo on it, you can put a bar of gold and put this logo on it. I'm talking from personal experience. Put this logo on it with a bar of gold and sell it for $1. It will not sell. I hear there are Calgary Stampeder fans somewhere in southern Alberta But I hear them speak, and I hear them claim that they are Stampeder fans, but they do not back up anything with their dollars. They will. They do not. I've talked from this personal experience. I work for a company. Well, so let me say this. I've heard of a company, and they thought it was a great idea because their head office is Saskatchewan. Let's send off pallets of material. Of items with logos of this. So in other words, to Winnipeg to put this logo on, and Saskatchewan put a pallet of stuff, send it, auto ship it to stores with this logo on it. And in Southern Alberta, let's ship stuff with this logo on it. And of course, in Saskatchewan, the stuff instantly sold. But in Southern Alberta, there are sea cans full of stuff with this logo. And they sit there for years unable to sell. The only way you can sell anything with this logo on it is sell it as a gag gift to fans of this team. And say, you want to make fun, have fun with your fellow Rider fans. Give them a gag gift with this, an item with this logo on it. And then have your laugh, and then go into an open field and blow this stuff up with dynamite or some kind of explosion. That's the only way you can sell anything with this logo on it, I swear from personal experience. But anyway, these people are insane. I made the mistake one time of accepting an invitation to... This is back in the early 80s. So this is when the Eskimos were the dominant team. And I got invited to an Edmonton versus Saskatchewan game at someone's house to watch it on television. And there was about a dozen Rider fans there and me. And I don't think it was this game because it wasn't in 79. But the score, like as I watched this, Eskimos scored a touchdown. Maybe for the first one I did a fist pump or something. I didn't make it very boisterous or anything. I just, yes, like that, And then they scored again, and they scored again. They scored 6 touchdowns. It was 42-0 for Saskatchewan, or for Edmonton over Saskatchewan. 42-0. And then late in the fourth quarter, it was less than 5 minutes left in the game. Saskatchewan somehow managed to move the ball. Probably because Edmonton said, we're tired. This game's over. It doesn't matter. I don't know. For whatever reason, Saskatchewan managed to move the football and put some first downs together. And they actually scored a touchdown with like 3 minutes to go in the game to make the score Edmonton 40, Saskatchewan 7. And at the moment when that ball crossed the goal line and Saskatchewan had their touchdown, the entire remember the score is 40-0. And made it 40-7. The whole place erupted like Mount St. Helens. It went absolutely crazy. The people there went absolutely ballistic. They jumped like climbing the walls, like they just won the world championship or something. And they went into my face and put fingers into my face. It's like, yeah, stick it to you, whatever, you say when you're in your face, trash talk. I'm sitting there astounded. The score is 40-7 for Edmonton, and they are doing this. They are the most insane people that I've ever met in my life. They are so passionate for this team. I'm looking down this schedule in 1979. You notice here that the Riders, Saskatchewan Roughriders, are 0-12 going into this game on October 14th, 1979 against Edmonton. And at the time, going to that game, Edmonton is 10-1-2. Okay, so 10-1-2. That's 2 they have ties. So 10-1-2. Edmonton versus going into Saskatchewan to face the 0-12 Saskatchewan Roughriders. And for some major miracle, Saskatchewan wins their first game of the year 26-25 and go to 1-12. And Eskimos, well, they already had first place clinched at this point, fall to 10-2. For some reason they took the Riders lightly, or maybe their team was half injured. I don't know. But I can imagine what happened, the insanity that must have happened to go to 1-12. The whole, I bet you that whatever, what is the day here? July 14th, 9 months later. I bet you at this point, hospitals throughout Saskatchewan made a call to all their employees saying, you cannot book off any time next July 14th, that week, because there's going to be an eruption of children born. You were planning to go on a cruise next July? Cancel your plans. There's no time off because the hospitals in Saskatchewan are going to be overrun with babies after this game because of this game right here. That these people, you think Packer fans or I don't know what, Cowboy fans are insane. You have not met these people. Just trust me on this. All that to say, we're gonna play this game between Winnipeg and Saskatchewan. And see, Saskatchewan hate Calgary. Everybody hates Calgary. Calgary, even though there's no fans of Calgary. I think, there might be some in Calgary. I'm not sure. I've heard, I know some Calgary fans. They claim to be Calgary fans, and these are the dominant team. The last 10 years, this team has dominated. Not Saskatchewan. They always think that this team has dominated the CFL. They're always in the Grey Cup. They just run roughshod over the whole Western Conference, and yet, Saskatchewan, they're talking trash. That's what they do. They talk trash. But the team that they hate the most are the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. As you can see, this meme here, that's what they feel about Blue Bomber fans, and they have Blue Bomber toilet paper and all this kind of stuff. So that's today's game. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who are 2-5, versus the 0-7 Saskatchewan Roughriders. Winnipeg is H, and the great Saskatchewan defense here adds 4, so they're IJKL. So they're L. And Saskatchewan is E, and they go up to F. So F it is. But I disagree with this. I don't care. They claim that Saskatchewan home field event, they have the most, their fans are nuts. I can't see how their home field advantage would be bad at all, but we have to play the game as it said. So they go back to E, and we go and give Winnipeg M because they go up. This is subtracted. If you subtract a -1, it's a positive, so it goes up to M. So me is the official final ratings for this game. And is this the Canadian one? Yes. Okay, so we are going to go to M. And we're going to roll the dice for M for the first quarter for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Here is the roll. It is 35. 35 is 6 points. 6 points for Winnipeg. And do they have any? No miss extra points, so it's 2 field goals. No, that's I always get fooled by this. We got to go this one. No field goals. See, CFL kickers don't miss field goals. Bernie Ruoff has, in his weird, wild specs, you want to see a kicker that has big, thick glasses when he kicks. So there you go. You go check out Bernie Ruoff. And he has 2 field goals. He was a good kicker, though, I have to admit. Anyway, 6 points for Winnipeg. Now we're going to roll for Saskatchewan on E. That's the real football chart, NFL. Now we got to go with CFL. That's this one. I'm going to get mixed up all day. Okay, so we go to E for the powerful Saskatchewan offense, led by Danny Sanders and Tom Clements. So I've heard of Tom Clements. Mike Strickland is their running back. Harlan Huckleby, I think he's a Michigan man. He is on the team. Okay, here's the roll for them. 45. Will they score? E. 3 points. And the whole Saskatchewan erupts. 3 points for Saskatchewan. And Bob McCarity kicks the field goal. So it's 6-3. Now we go back to Winnipeg. Winnipeg rolls on M for their second quarter points. Here is the roll. 41. 41 is a 7 points. They score a touchdown. 7 points. That's an extra point for McCarity. No, what am I doing? Gotta go to Winnipeg. Ruoff. Ruoff gets the extra point. And let's see, Dieter Brock. Do you remember him? I think he played a couple games in the NFL. And he won not this year, I think the next year he won the CFL MVP. Very good quarterback. So let's see what kind of touchdown it is. 603. It is a pass. They only scored 4 running touchdowns all year. And let's see if it's Dieter Brock. It is Dieter Brock. So Dieter Brock gets the touchdown pass. And who caught it? Who caught this pass? Mike Holmes, Walt Pasaglia, Jimmy Washington. 923, it is. We got to go way down here. Tenny Pierce. Tenny Pierce catches the touchdown. And I don't know if the Bombers will get out of Saskatchewan alive if they win this game. But they're leading by a score of 13-3 in the second quarter. So now it's time for the Riders. Can they get close at the half? So we roll on E. Here's the roll for the Riders. 31. 31 is a big goose egg. So 13-3 at the half for the Bombers, trying to get to 3-5 on the season. So now they're going to roll for the third quarter on M for the Bombers. Here it is, 64. Oh, this is going to be a massacre. 14 points for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They lead 27-3. Now we'll successfully go here. That's 2 more point afters for Bernie Ruoff. And probably 2 more touchdown passes, although we have to roll and see. 5, that's 1 touchdown pass for Dieter Brock. And we'll roll again for the touchdown pass. Yes, another touchdown pass for Brock. He's got 3. And who caught the 2 passes? First one, 294, Mike Holmes, their leading receiver. Mike Holmes got 1. And the second one goes to Mike Holmes again. 2 touchdown passes to Mike Holmes in the third quarter. And before the Riders roll, the score is Winnipeg 27, Saskatchewan 3. And if any Rider fans are watching this, I'm sure they're going to give a dislike just on principle alone. We're going to roll now on the Riders. The Riders rolling on E. Will they be scoreless again? 62, they're going to score! 7 points! The whole province is erupting. So it's McCready gets his first point after, and let's see who's going to score the touchdown. Is it going to be, what kind of touchdown? 9:59, it's a special team, no, a defensive touchdown they score. I don't think with this offense they could score, so that makes sense. 1 defensive touchdown for the Riders, and the score is 27-10 going into the fourth quarter. That's the wrong one. That's the NFL one. I mixed up. All right, here we go. We're rolling on M for the final quarter for the Bombers. 32. 32 is 6 points. So Bernie Ruoff's foot is busy. He gets 2 more field goals. And they have 33 points. I'm going to give Bernie Ruoff his... There you go. 4 field goals and 3 extra points. He's been busy today. As typically kickers are against the Riders. Uh-oh, more dislikes. I have to watch what I say. All right. E, here's the final. They need the 46, a big quarter. They need a huge quarter to get back in this game. They need a 46. 66. Normally that'd be great, but they needed a 46. But they do score a touchdown. So once again, Saskatchewan erupts. And we give a Bob McCready point after. I give 1. No, that's the second one he has. Will they score something besides a defensive touchdown? The whole world wants to know. 280. 280's a running touchdown. And who ran it in? 262. That's Mike Strickland. They're probably their best running back. Sorry, Harlan Huckleby. So Strickland gets the running touchdown. And the final score from Regina: the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 33 and the Saskatchewan Roughriders 17. And now from Alberta, the Battle of Alberta. This is the big game, really, for us here. My beloved Eskimos, season ticket holder for many years. These were the greatest CFL team in history. People talked that this team could take on like the Baltimore Colts of 79 and beat them. I have no doubt. I just wished that could have happened. You take whatever, yeah, sure, not the Steelers or something like that, but some of these, I don't know, you pick a team. A team like, the Baltimore Colts, the New York Giants, the St. Louis Cardinals. You could take a team like that from 79. That would have been interesting to see how the Eskimos could have done. Eskimos have a record of 6 wins, no losses, and 2 ties, going to Calgary with a record of 5-3. Right now, the Labor Day Classic, these two teams have played on Labor Day for every year since probably before I was born. And the last 20 years, it has been dominated by the Stampeders. 20 years at least, probably more. But back then, the Eskimos, they won this game 27-1. I mean, in real life. So they have, of course, Warren Moon, had the 2-headed quarterback. He had this super athletic, incredible arm, perfect spiral, Warren Moon. And they had Tom Wilkinson. Tom Wilkinson, short, fat, stubby, lame duck throws. And yet, this man could move the football like you wouldn't believe. There'd be games Warren Moon would not have it. Some games like the 1981 Grey Cup against the Ottawa Roughriders. First half, Moon just didn't have it that day. They were down 20-0 at the half to a team that was like 5-11 in the regular season. They just got lucky at the end and got into the Grey Cup. 5-11 team against the 14-2 Eskimos, and Warren Moon didn't have it. They were trailing at the half 20-0, and then what did they do? They bring in Tom Wilkinson. He's probably 38 years old at this point, with his 1-bar helmet and his huge head and little body, and he just moved the ball, got him back in the game, and they won the game, at the end. So Tom Wilkinson, he's probably before Gretzky came. Like, this is the time, 79. We'll see Gretzky's first year. Before Gretzky, he was the most famous athlete in Edmonton. I mean, yeah, he's an Edmonton legend. Anyway, let's get to the game. Edmonton is O with a -4 off defense. Calgary's L -2. This will be a good game. Edmonton, so we go from O. Calgary's defense -2. They go to M. Eskimos are M. Calgary starts at L. They go down because of the great Edmonton defense to K, J, I, H. Take the home field advantage at McMahon Stadium. I don't know if there's such a thing back then, but that's what we have to play. +1. So the final ratings go up I for Calgary and M for Edmonton. Me. I got to do these acronyms to remember so I don't have to keep looking back and forth. So Edmonton has M. Same as the Bombers did. All right, we're going to roll for the Eskimos first quarter. Here is the roll. 22. They have 3 points. Dave Cutler kicks a field goal. Cutler, field goal. And Edmonton has 3 points. Not a very good first quarter. That opens the door for Calgary to see what they can do with an I. Remember the score? Real score was it 37 or 20? 27-1. So, I don't know. I have a feeling this could be an upset. This won't be realistic. Here's I. Here's the roll. 32. 32 is also 3 points. So JT Hay gets a field goal. And it's 3-3 after the first quarter. Eskimos off to a slow start. Calgary's already scored more points in this game than they did in the real Labor Day Classic of 1979. Here is the M roll for the Eskimos. That's more like it. 56. 56 is 10 points for the Eskimos. They have a field goal from Cutler. And let's see who threw the touchdown. We have to see if it is a throwing touchdown. So Cutler gets his second field goal. And now we're going to see what kind of touchdown it was. Here's the roll, 204. It's a running touchdown. So no Wilkinson or Moon. It's Jim Germany. Great running back for the Eskimos. Let's see if he gets a touchdown. He does. Jim Germany runs it in for the first Edmonton score. First touchdown. And the score is 10-3. Now it's time for the Stumps. The Stumps will roll now. On I. Here is the roll for the Stumps. 25. That is a field goal. JT Hay responds with a field goal. It's 13-6 Edmonton. Give him his second field goal of the day. We go to the third quarter. Rolling on M for the Eskimos. Rolling on M. Here is the roll. 35. 35 is 6 points. 6 points for the Eskimos. Let's see if it's a point after. Missed a point after. He did have one. Cutler had one. He had 53 out of 54. The Eskimos scored 57 touchdowns this year. Whew. That is pretty amazing. But we'll give him his missed extra point, his one of the year. Get it out of the way. And therefore, this is a touchdown. Will it be a passing touchdown or another Jim Germany running touchdown? Inquiring minds want to know. Here's the roll. 963. And it's neither. It's a defensive touchdown. Larry Highbaugh intercepts the ball and runs it in for a touchdown. And so the score is now 19-6. We're going to roll for Calgary. Let's see what they can do to respond. They need a big quarter because they're falling behind. Here's the roll. 22 is not a big quarter. It is a big goose egg for the Calgary Stampeders. Very realistic. 19-6. We go to the fourth quarter now with Edmonton up by 13 points. Calgary needs a lot of luck to get back in this game. We're rolling on M for the Eskimos. Here's the roll. 41. 41 is a touchdown to make it 26. The real Eskimos scored 27. Today they scored 26. This game is exceptionally realistic. Now let's see what kind. We want a passing touchdown. Warren Moon's got to throw one touchdown today. Here's the roll. 7. That is a passing. No, it's a running touchdown again. And 7:22 is Warren Moon runs it in himself. So he gets a run. He doesn't get a throwing touchdown, but he gets a running touchdown for the second touchdown of the game for the Eskimos. Third touchdown. No, it was third because they have a defensive touchdown. So they lead at 26-6. Calgary needs a minor miracle if they're going to come back. They need they need a 45. Because 14 points won't do it. It'll get them close. But they'll still lose if they roll 66. They need this 45. A big quarter. That's what they need. 24 is not a big quarter. It is a field goal for JT Hay. That's all they could muster is 3 JT Hay field goals. And the final score in the 1979 Labor Day Classic is Edmonton 26, Calgary 9. Calgary has a home loss, and they score 9 points, and they allow 26. Edmonton, I guess we have to copy this over. Copy. Go to Edmonton and tell them the good news that they win. We have a away win, and they've scored 26 points, allowed 9. We forgot to do this for the Bombers. So we take this and we give Saskatchewan a home loss. And they scored 17 points, pretty good for them, and allowed 33. And then we take this over, copy to Winnipeg. And they get a away win. And they scored 33 points. Not 33. And so now we're going to look at the up-to-date standings in the CFL. BC is still up. That didn't seem to work. Did I do it right or what? Maybe my calculations are... Because I think they were 6-2 coming in. No, they were 5-2. Okay, it is right. So the standings right now. BC is 7 wins, 1 loss, and 1 tie for 15 points. Edmonton is 6-0-2. Calgary falls to 5-3. They were 5-2, now they're 5-3. Gotta trust this process. Trust the process. Winnipeg is 4-5. They improved to 4-5. And Saskatchewan falls to 0-8. Now in the CFL, the top 3 teams in each conference, they go on to the playoffs. The only exception is if the third place team, say in Toronto here, if Winnipeg gets a better record in 4th place than Toronto in 3rd, they carry over and go over to the East and be the 3rd place team. That's the rule in the CFL. So, for instance, if it never happens this way, I don't think an Eastern team is ever carried over to the West. I don't think it's ever happened, but it has happened many times or several times where the 4th place team in the West goes over because they are and plays in the East playoffs because they have a better record than the 3rd place team in the East. This is kind of like the NBA where the West dominates. I think that's been on since probably the mid-70s. Before the mid-70s, it probably was pretty close between East and West, but since the mid-70s, it's been all West, pretty much. There's been pockets of time. Toronto's had some good teams. Montreal has had some really good teams in the 2000s, that first decade of the 2000s. They were really good. And yet, top to bottom, West has always been better. Anyway, that's your CFL football for today. And your rant about the Rider fans. And now we're going to play Monday Night Football. We'll close this Canadian. We don't need it anymore. Got to get these things out of the way so I don't get confused. So we can close this now. And now we're going to play the last game of Week 1 in the NFL. The game is from New England, Foxborough. The New England Patriots and the defending Super Bowl champion Pittsburgh Steelers. And I have to say, I love this logo. I mean, they went from one of the great logos in sports to now one of the most boring logos. Although, it worked for them. They never won a Super Bowl while they had this logo, and now with that crappy logo, they win every year, or they're in there every year. They dominate. And same thing here, Steelers. I mean, this logo is boring, but don't you like this old logo they had with this guy kicking a football off a beam? I mean, that is cool. They should bring that back. I think they did with the, those Bumblebee uniforms, but get rid of the Bumblebee uniforms and bring back this logo. I know it's kind of goofy and they want to be a serious football team, And, they never won the Super Bowl when they had this logo, but since they went to this, they've been a pretty fine football team. But now we're in New England, and we're going to play Monday Night Football from Foxborough with Howard Cosell. I'm not going to be able to imitate him, no. Okay, Pittsburgh starts as an M, and the New England defense is 0, so they stay at an M. And New England starts with an M, and the defense of Pittsburgh is -2, so they go to a K. So we're going to roll, and the home field of New England is neutral. So the final ratings, M for the Steelers, K for New England. Let us begin the game. We'll bring up the scoring chart. We're doing a lot of rolling on M today. We're going to roll on M again for the Steelers. Here is the roll for the Steelers for the first quarter. 26. They get a field goal. And we go to Pittsburgh. And we enter their field goal for Matt Barr. So the score is 3-0 Pittsburgh. But the Patriots have not rolled yet. So of course they're scoreless. We're rolling on K. K for New England. Here's a roll. 51 is a good roll. They score a touchdown. Touchdown, Patriots. So that is John Smith, the most boring name in the history of kickers. I'd rather have Ali Haji Sheik any day over John Smith. Maybe not as a kicker, but as a kicker's name for sure. Now let's see if Steve Grogan, my all-time favorite New England quarterback, Steve Grogan, can throw a touchdown pass. First, we'll see if they can get the throw, or is it going to be a running touchdown? It is a passing touchdown. Will it be Steve Grogan? 962. No, it's Tom Owen. Throws the touchdown pass. I jinxed him by saying he was my favorite. The most underrated. They wanted to get rid of him every year. I don't understand. He was a great quarterback. Or very good, at least. Now let's see who caught the ball. And not my all-time favorite New England receiver, Irving Fryer. He's not on the team yet. I named, 20 years after Irving Fryer retired, I named my plant Irving Fryer. So, that shows how much affection I have for him. Here is the roll. These guys... They're still good. Stanley Morgan, Harold Jackson, Russ Francis. Nothing to sneeze at. Who caught the ball? It's 573. It's Harold Jackson. Caught the first touchdown from Tom Owen. Why is he in the game? We don't know. So Harold Jackson catches the touchdown. And after one quarter, it's New England 7, Pittsburgh 3. Now it's time for the second quarter of action here on Monday Night Football. Rolling on M. Here is the Steeler roll. 21. They score another field goal for... Oops, that's not 1 point. It's 3 points. And, they got a point after. But Matt Barr got his second field goal of the game. As long as it sticks to field goals, we'll be okay. So let's see what the Patriots can do. Going for the upset here on Monday night against the last year's Super Bowl champions and, in reality, this year's Super Bowl champions, Steelers. Here's a roll. They're hoping for something higher than 42. Higher than 42. Here's the roll. 45 is higher than 42. It's another touchdown for the Patriots. Back when Patriots were lovable. So it's John Smith. Point after is good, and... let's see if Steve Grogan can throw the touchdown this time. Let's see if it is even a throwing touchdown. 6:58, it is. Steve Grogan, 8:09. It is Steve Grogan, barely. So Steve Grogan throws the touchdown pass. And who's he throw it to? Russ Francis. Stanley Morgan. Here is the roll. 268. I'm going to check that. I'm going back on the video. Something tells me, well, that's pretty high. 933. Was it higher than 933 the first time? You're probably saying, and I'm going to get comments, no, it was Grogan the first time. Well, I'll check it again, and I'll change it if on the video. This is all videotaped, thankfully. So this one, though, definitely 268. Did I roll this already? I'm too busy thinking. Okay, we'll roll it again. Was 268 the... I'm thinking about the previous touchdown. All right, we'll give it to Stanley Morgan. We'll 268. Gotta get my in the game here. Get my mind. I can't. I'm always thinking about 5 different things. So we'll give it to Stanley Morgan. He deserves it anyway. So the score is 14-6. I'll go back in the videotape and I'll change it if it's not. All right, videotape. Okay, we go to the Steelers. They're behind. 14-6. At the half. Rolling for the third quarter. You know they're coming back. They always do. Here is the roll for the Steelers. 22. That's another field goal. 3 field goals. That's all they could do so far. They are behind the 8 ball big time now. 3 field goals, Matt Barr. Bradshaw, he's not doing anything today. The Patriot defense is shutting them down. Okay, New England's rolling on K for their third quarter roll. Here it is. The Steelers are hoping for a goose egg. Patriots are hoping for a 66. Here's the roll. 33. It's halfway in between. It's a 6 points. 6 points. Oh, yeah, it's K. 6 points. Is that a 2 field goals or is it a missed extra point? It is a missed extra point for John Smith. He had 3 on the season, so we'll use one of them now. And we'll give him another touchdown. This time I'll pay attention. I'll have my mind right here, not thinking of the past. Here's the roll. 9:26 is another passing touchdown. Who is the quarterback? 9:21. Steve Grogan barely. So he gets a second touchdown pass of the game, and it will be fitting if Morgan's already had one, Jackson has one, if this one's to Russ Francis. Here is the roll. 7:44. It is Russ Francis. Spread the ball around to the big 3. Sorry, Horace Ivory and Carlos Pennywell, but these guys are the big 3. And the score is now 20-9. 11-point lead for the Patriots going into the fourth quarter. And here's the last roll for the Steelers. They need, if they get 14 points, they roll 63 or higher, they'll get 14, and that will put them ahead, at least until the Patriots roll. So that's what they're looking for, or they're looking for the big quarter. Here is the roll. 56 is a big quarter, not quite big enough though. 56 is 10 points. Steelers make a great attempt to come back, but they fall 1 point short, and New England still has to roll. So let's see. Matt Barr gets his 4th field goal of the game, and the Steelers get to roll for their first touchdown. What kind of touchdown is it? It's a 978. It is a pass. It's a passing touchdown, and Bradshaw, he's the only guy who threw one in 1979, so he automatically gets a passing TD. And who caught the ball? Will it be Stallworth or Swan or one of these other guys? Here is the roll for the receiver. 3:02, it is John Stallworth. Catches the ball, trying to come back, but they fall short. And the score is 20-19 for New England, and they have yet to roll. Let's see what they get rolling on K for their fourth quarter roll. Here is their roll. It is a 14. It is nothing, so they win by 1 point. They hang on for a 20-19 win, but a win is a win is a win. 20 points for the Patriots, 19 for the Steelers. And let's roll for Steve Grogan, see how many yards he threw for today. We changed the dice to a 20-sided die. And let's see, Grogan threw for 205 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. A pretty good day for Steve Grogan. Sam Cunningham, their number 1 running back of the year. Let's see what he doesn't run very much. Let's see how many he had. 8. So it's 44 yards running for Sam Cunningham. Oops, that's the wrong one. I gotta put it here. 44 yards for Cunningham. Stanley Morgan, how many yards passing did he have in this game here on Monday night? He had 9, which is a 62 yards for Stanley Morgan. So a pretty good day. 62 yards and a touchdown. And Harold Jackson, very, very close race between these two guys for this year. 8. So 61 for Harold Jackson. So he's trailing in the race for the team receiving lead by 1. Now we go to Pittsburgh. I guess we should copy this and tell Pittsburgh, hey, you guys lost. You're 0-1. In real game, the Steelers won 16-13. So we copy, and we'll apply this. So we'll give them a away loss, and they scored 19 points, and they allowed 20. There was a missed extra point in this game too, right? But it was by New England, so it's not really a factor. Okay, we're gonna roll for Bradshaw. How many yards passing did Bradshaw have in this game? 10 is 232. 232 yards passing for Bradshaw. Franco Harris, how many yards rushing did he have? He didn't score a touchdown, but he had 18. So it's 99 yards rushing for Franco. Big day on the ground. John Stallworth, how many yards passing or receiving did he have? 14, that is 77. So he had 77 yards and a touchdown for John Stallworth. And Lynn Swan didn't score a touchdown, but how many yards receiving did he have? He had 62. So there it is. We're going to look at the standings after 1 week. And we're going to do a little sorting here. We're going to sort this one. So we go here, sort. And we sort by percentage, I guess. So sort by percentage. Largest to smallest. So there's the standings in the AFC Central. Houston was the only team to win as Cleveland lost to the Jets 22-19. Jets are winners, New England winners, Miami winners. And in the AFC West, everybody won except for Seattle because San Diego crushed them 42-20. And in the NFC, Philadelphia beat New York 26-17. Dallas won 16-14 over St. Louis. And Washington, we saw that on yesterday's broadcast loss. So Dallas and Philadelphia are the winners. Here in the Central, Chicago, Tampa Bay, and Minnesota all won. Green Bay and Detroit will pull up the rear the entire season. And the only team to win in the West was New Orleans, who defeated Atlanta 30-21. San Francisco and Los Angeles. Los Angeles lost to the Raiders. So that is the NFL for week 1. What will we do in the remaining time? Very exciting to show you. We talked a little bit about this, but college football season is going to be very exciting. We are going to close this to get this out of the way. We are going to play a 64-team tournament. 64, just like college basketball, we're going to do for college football. We've ranked the teams. Not pro football, but Football Reference has ranked the teams exactly 1 to 64 according to their rankings. And we're going to use those rankings. We're not going to change them anyway. We're just going to use them as is. And we're going to play a 64-team tournament basketball style in college football. We're going to announce this is the selection show. We're going to show you some of the matchups in the first round. And I'm still debating whether to do the away. In fact, I've decided. I'm the king. I can do what I like. I've decided to do away with this away point stuff. That's kind of hokey. If they're tied after aggregate, there's a home and away. So here, for instance, here's the first match. I get up ahead of myself, okay? The number 1 ranked team are the USC Trojans. Even though they didn't win the national championship, they were rated, according to Football Reference, as the top team. And so they have the number 1 ranking. I should move it over so it shows. Yeah, there it is. Number 1 ranking. The 64th ranked team is Virginia Tech. So they will face off. They'll go to Virginia Tech for the first game. The higher seed will always be the home team on the first game. And then they go to USC for the second game. And then they'll have aggregate. They'll add up the 2 games, and the winner will be whoever wins. We won't worry about away points if there's a tie. If it's a tie, then they'll play overtime. That's more exciting than some hokey away points thing. We'll go to overtime, and we'll play until someone wins. And the winner of this match, will face the winner of the 32-33 match. And I also to add some extra flavor to remind you who was on these teams. You might recall this team, very famous USC team with Paul McDonald's quarterback. Charles White, the Heisman Trophy winner, was the runner. Marcus Allen was blocking for him on that team. And Ronnie Lott was also, Hall of Famer, was also on that team. Then we go to the next matchup, the number 2 versus 63. Number 2, Alabama, who was the real national championship, but they are the number 2 ranked team in this tournament against Chattanooga. Will have the privilege of facing Alabama. Then the number 3 ranked Oklahoma Sooners will take on Georgia Tech. Oklahoma. This is one of my favorite teams in this tournament. J.C. Watts, who played in the CFL and is now a congressman in the state of Oklahoma. Billy Sims. I had a Billy Sims jersey when I was a kid. I wore it almost every day to school because I loved Billy Sims. David Overstreet was a first-round pick that went to the CFL. Others are Keith Gary, George Crumby. I mean, this was a stacked team against Georgia Tech. And maybe you'll recognize some of these players if you're a big Georgia Tech fan. Mike Kelly. Actually, this was a pretty good quarterback, and I think he played in the NFL. Then a number 4 ranked Ohio State. This is for ID Jester. This would be the one for him. ID Jester, the Battle of Ohio. Ohio State versus Miami of Ohio. And we won't talk about the quarterback. We won't talk about that. He kind of had some problems. And there's some of the players on Miami of Ohio. The number 5 ranked Arkansas Razorback versus Wisconsin will be the next matchup. The number 6 Texas Longhorns versus Mississippi State. Jam Jones and Lamb Jones. I don't know if you remember those two guys. Johnny Johnson of the Rams, legendary safety. I think he's a safety. Might be a cornerback. I think he's safety. Is on that team. Donnie Little was their quarterback against Mississippi State. The number 7th ranked Nebraska. If you want to know a stacked team, Nebraska versus Ole Miss. They had so many NFLers on this team, including legendary center Dave Rimington was on that team. Very stacked team in Nebraska. The number 8th ranked Houston Cougars face Hawaii. Oh, poor Houston. They have to go to Hawaii. And you can see some of the players on that team. The number 9 ranked, if you want to see a stacked team, Pitt versus Navy. They had Dan Marino. They had Russ Grimm and Mark May as the offensive linemen. They had Ricky Jackson, Greg Meisner, Carlton Williamson from the 49ers, Hugh Green, Bob Gruber, Rooster Jones, Randy McMillan. This was a stacked team. The only loss they had was against North Carolina. Otherwise, they would have been an undefeated team. I think this is Marino's freshman season, too. So they were loaded against Navy. So it's a testament to the midshipmen that they are even in this tournament. So that should be a great game. Number 10, Brigham Young versus McNeese State. And look at the quarterbacks. Mark Wilson, Jim McMahon, Andy Reid, the coach, is on that team. So they had an excellent team. And they're facing McNeese State, who has you can see here, they have an amazing defense. So they might give Brigham Young some trouble. I don't know. And we talked about this one already. North Carolina, the 11th ranked team against Rutgers. This is actually a pretty close matchup. And on that North Carolina team, the greatest linebacker who ever lived, Lawrence Taylor. Number 12th ranked Florida State against Kawhi Leonard's San Diego State Aztecs. And you see some of the players on those teams. Very similar offensively, just the defense. Florida State has a great defense, and San Diego State has a poor offense. And yes, I will not comment on Kawhi Leonard going to the Clippers. I just want to say thank you to Kawhi for giving us our championship in Toronto. And I don't blame you. You went home. And now I'm kind of glad. I was just glad that he didn't go to the Lakers. That's what I was happy about. He went to the Clippers. The Clippers deserve a championship. Now they have Paul George too. I mean, that would be really interesting to see the Battle of LA next year in the NBA. But this is not time for the NBA. This is college football time. Number 12th ranked Florida versus San Diego State. Number 13th ranked Washington versus 52 ranked Oregon. That should always, when these two teams get together, it's always exciting. And they are loaded with NFLers on this team as well. And not so much Oregon. Well, they have a couple guys who are drafted, I guess. And then number 14th ranked Texas A&M versus Texas Arlington, who no longer even has a football team. But they have a better offense than Texas A&M. They have the same defensive rating. They have excellent home field advantage. This is going to be an excellent matchup. And they feature, if you're a CFL fan, Roy DeWalt, who was a quarterback in the CFL for like 10 years for like BC Lions. I think he played for Toronto. So everybody in the CFL knows Roy DeWalt. He was the quarterback of Texas Arlington. And this should be a really good matchup. The number 15th ranked Penn State Nittany Lions against Kentucky in this matchup. And they have Jeff Hostetler. Look who was the third string quarterback. That was Todd Blackledge. And they had Kurt Warner, Matt Suey, Irv Pankey, Bruce Clark, Matt Millen. I mean, this team, the definition of stacked is the 1979 Penn State. Number 16th ranked, hail to the victors. You know who my heart is going to be cheering for. Michigan versus Utah State. I love Doug Marsh. Probably one of my favorite all-time receivers on Michigan. Anthony Carter is on that team. Bubba Paris. Keith Bostic was on that team. And we just talked about him. Ali Haji Sheik. Probably my all-time favorite. I mean, any kicker who plays for Michigan and the New York Giants has to be my favorite kicker of all time. Sorry, Dave Cutler. Then we have Temple, the 17th ranked Temple versus Oklahoma State Cowboys. Then we have LSU Tigers versus Michigan State Spartans. Boo. I mean, can't have any kind of prejudice. Michigan State, yay, Michigan State. Because they have Danny Bass, Eskimo great. They have the all-time greatest kicker, Morton Anderson, the greatest kicker of all time. LSU had Greg LaFleur. They had David Woodley. I remember him. Hokie Gajan. Leroy Jones. 19th ranked Clemson versus SMU. Who was on SMU? Craig James and Eric Dickerson were on that team. And yet Dickerson was the third string running back. Charles Wagoner was second string after Craig James. They have Harvey Armstrong, Michael Carter, Jim Bob Taylor, Clemson, Perry Tuttle, Terry Kennard was on that team. They have amazing defense, -6. To go up against SMU probably peaked a year later, but they're in this tournament. You never know what can happen. 20th ranked Baylor versus Arizona. I'll just clip along a little faster now. These are like really close matchups, all these coming up. NC State versus Southern Mississippi. The number 22 ranked Auburn Tigers versus Stanford and John Elway. Auburn, what a running back combination. Joe Cribbs and James Brooks. Tulane, number 23 versus Minnesota. The Golden Gophers. Tulane had one of the great all-time line kickers, Eddie Murray. The number 24 ranked Fighting Irish of Notre Dame versus Wake Forest. Dave Dewerson, John Scully, Bob Crable. Vegas Ferguson had a great year that year. Number 25 ranked Maryland versus Iowa. Mike Tice was a quarterback. John Tice. Jan Carinci played in the CFL for 10 years. Was on that Maryland team. Jay Hilgenberg played for Iowa. Reggie Roby. Andre Tippett. Great New England Patriot player was on that team. This should be a great matchup. Purdue, 26th ranked versus Texas Tech. Mark Herman was the quarterback of Purdue back then. Number 27th ranked South Carolina versus Georgia. What a matchup this is. Great matchup. South Carolina featured George Rogers, who was the number 1 draft pick like in 1980 or 81 in the NFL. UCLA, the 28th ranked UCLA Bruins versus Syracuse. Orangeman. Art Monk on that Syracuse team. Joe Morris, great giant running back. Kenny Easley was on the UCLA Bruins. Freeman McNeil as well. Number 29th ranked Indiana. One of the greatest Indiana teams ever with Lee Corso as the head coach. Versus Arizona State. Mike Pagel was on that team. Robert Weathers, Gerald Riggs, Ron Washington on the Arizona State. Tennessee, 30th ranked Tennessee versus Central Michigan. You say, well, Central Michigan, but look, they had the better defense. They had Gary Hogaboom on that team. Mike Kofer, Roland Janes, Greg Gaines was on that Tennessee team. Willie Gault, how can I forget him? Number 31 ranked Missouri versus East Carolina. Great Seattle Mariner. Phil Bradley was the quarterback. James Wilder. And East Carolina, they actually have the better offense. Missouri's going to have their hands full with East Carolina. And the number 32 ranked California versus 33 ranked Virginia. I dare you to pick the winner in this one. So these are the matchups. We are going to start off with number 1 versus number 64 next time on the King Icheboo Sports Network. We thank you so much for tuning in today. We're going to sign off for the day. We'll catch you next time. Goodbye, everybody.